Since Llyod has won, he asks the centaur guard to introduce him to the chief of the centaur clan. However, the guard refuses. Llyod asks the reason, and the guard explains that Llyod cheated and he needed to win by running. Llyod asserts that as long as he is the fastest, he should be recognized as the top guy. The guard captain is shunned. Suddenly, a female centaur named Charanin intervenes, calling the guard's attempt as pathetic. She explains that their tradition is simply that the fastest wins. The word running was never specified. Charanin calls Llyod a weird guy and tells him to follow her so she can introduce him to the chief. Llyod, wheezing, starts to follow her. In the next scene, Llyod, Javier, and Charanin are walking together toward the chief's place. Javier looks at Llyod and tells him he seems quite proud today. Llyod smiles and boasts that he is popular among the centaurs because female centaurs prefer fast men. He claims that Charanin has fallen head over heels for him. Javier, unimpressed, retorts that she hasn't. But Llyod says that Javier is jealous because Javier used to think he was the most handsome. Just then, Charanin kicks Llyod very hard. Then she says he might be fast, but he at least needs an average face to date. That insult brings tears in Llyod's eye. On the way, Charanin remarks that speed isn't everything, which confuses Llyod, as speed is everything for centaurs. Soon, they reach the centaur clan's territory. Charanin points to a tent and tells Llyod that the chief, Charakin, lives there and that she is his daughter. Inside the chief's tent, Charakin welcomes Llyod and Javier. Llyod introduces himself and explains that he is searching for something called top, which was part of an ancient truth jewel. Charakin points to the back of the tent, and says it's right there, indicating he has top. Llyod tells him to please give it to him, but Charakin responds that although Llyod may be fast, he is also shameless for asking so directly. Even though top is useless to them, top is part of their tradition and cannot just be given away. Charanin interjects, questioning the usefulness of the tradition and urging her father to give top to Llyod since he came from afar. Charakin scolds her for her modern ideals and friendliness, telling her to go run or find something to destroy. Charanin counters by mentioning the legend of the light-speed human, who would one day visit them and resolve their speed issues. Charakin says that Llyod can be a light-speed human. Llyod questions about what is light-speed human, to which Charanin tells him about the legend, where a light-speed human would solve their speed problem to help them break their records. Charakin tells Llyod that if he is successful with improving the speed of Centaurus, Charakin will give him the top. Llyod wonders how he can possibly make the already fast centaurs even faster. Scene shifts to a foreboding place with a red moon. Inside a dark room filled with black magic items, a hand emerges from a green liquid. It is followed by a ghostly body. The creature is none other than Worthrod. He curses Llyod, lamenting that even ancient blood magic failed against him. Worthrod is dismayed by his ghoul-like appearance and feels weak. He wonders how would he able to defeat Llyod with this body. Suddenly, a voice pities Worthrod. It is the King of Hell, who says to Worthrod, that he told him from the start, that all he needs is to summon him. The King of Hell reminds Worthrod that he had guided him to Tarha Castle, and taught him ancient black magic. He says that although Worthrod wants his own revenge, but Llyod is a formidable opponent. The King of Hell cannot enter the world of living himself. The King of Hell proposes that if Worthrod gathers the required materials to summon him into the world of the living, he will exact revenge on Llyod. He will leash the soul of Llyod and use him as a slave for eternity. Worthrod agrees to help the King of Hell descend into the world. Back at the Centaur tribe, Llyod ponders how to increase the speed of the centaurs and whether he should teach them the technique of aura blasts for faster running. Javier responds that the centaurs wouldn't accept it because they want to be faster through their own running. He also questions whether Llyod should even help them, noting that both young and old centaurs bear injuries from their intense competition to be the fastest. This reminds Llyod of what Charanin said about how centaurs resort to race for solving quarrels, especially when competing for female centaurs. In the next scene, a blonde centaur approaches Cherenin with a marriage proposal, but Cherenin sighs at this. He boasts about being the unified champion of the centaurs and claims all the women are dying for his love. He grabs Cherenin's hand and suggests they go for a romantic race among the flowers. Cherenin kicks him, telling him not to touch her again. She despises people who trust only in their speed. The blonde centaur retorts that being fast is all that matters, and even the chief has acknowledged him as his son-in-law. He warns Cherenin that her father will not sit by idly if she rejects his proposal. Suddenly, another centaur named Shumahul intervenes, telling the blonde centaur to stop harassing Cherenin. Cherenin blushes upon seeing Shumahul. The blonde centaur mocks Shumahul for losing 8 times and declares that someone as slow as him has no right to speak. Llyod watches the commotion and thinks to himself that he doesn't like them one bit. In the next scene, Cherenin approaches Shumahul. She apologizes for what happened but explains that if she had taken his side, they would have challenged him to a race. Shumahul says he should be the one apologizing because he is slow and unable to convince anyone, which is why the chief has not acknowledged him. Cherenin assures him that he is not slow and that she doesn't care about speed, she will marry him regardless. Shumahul tells her that no one would congratulate them for their marriage. He says she would be happier with someone who is fast and then leaves. Cherenin begins to cry at this. But Llyod approaches and asks what is going on. Cherenin tells Llyod that Shumahul is fast, but Llyod says he believes it and tells Shumahul is fastest. Cherenin asks how he knows that because he has never seen Shumahul running. Llyod explains that he can tell instinctively and that Shumahul's head shape is streamlined, which is perfect for running. Llyod compares Shumahul's body structure to a fast car. Llyod asks Cherenin why Shumahul can't use his full speed. She explains that some time ago, while racing, Shumahul broke his leg saving a small child. Shumahul is the type of guy who cares more about people not getting injured than winning races or marrying her. Cherenin calls their running tradition stupid and evil. Llyod then asks about her ranking in terms of speed. She replies that she is second after her father, but after her dad retired, the blonde centaur became the #1 winner. Llyod asks if people would listen to her. She says that in most cases people would, but it depends on the situation. If the decision is like banning the race, her father and Kamachi, the blonde centaur, could overturn her decision. Llyod then makes a request to her for a gathering of all the tribe members. He declares that if she does that, he will end the evil practice of running and make Shumahul the fastest centaur.